Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. And if this is your first time here, welcome. This is Essential Patience and I Am Patience. In today's video, I'll be talking about 10 easy steps to land an internship. During your high school and college years, earning an internship is imperative. Not only will you be able to work with professionals in your field who can mentor you, but also it is a good look on your resume. And when it's time to get an interview or to even just speak one-on-one to another professional, you'll be able to talk about your experiences. And also it allows you to learn a lot. Step number one is to prepare a professional resume. During my sophomore year, I was at a career fair and a recruiter wanted to see my resume. I gave it over. She turned and saw that there was a second page. She took a pen and she crossed it out. I was kind of offended, but honestly, I'm glad she did do that because a 2-page resume for a college student, most college students, is ridiculous. Say all you need to say on one page. Just because you like your resume doesn't mean other people like it. What do you want your resume to communicate? That's the most important thing. It's not about what you think about yourself in that moment. It's about what other people see based on your resumes. Research has shown that people look at resumes for less than 30 seconds. So you want yours to stand on a 2-page resume. Just seems to be a lot to read. You can also go to your professors, advisors. There are just so many people ready to help you with your resume. Present yourself in the best way possible. Communicate all the things you have done, the most important and the most relevant things that you have done in a 1-page resume. That speaks to who you were, who you are, and most importantly, what you're looking for in the future. Number 2 is similar to number 1, but you want to also make sure that you're having different resumes for different things. And it doesn't have to be drastically different. During my time in college, I always had different resumes, but they were always quite similar. It just depended on what I was looking for at the time. If you're going for an engineering internship per se, you want it to be engineering heavy on that 1 page versus if you're going for something more creative, maybe you want to highlight some of your creative aspects. If you're going for a leadership role, you want to prioritize putting leadership experiences there. So you might have a lot of things you want to communicate to people, but there's a time and place for everything. So you don't have to put your entire life story on your resume. When you go to the interview, that's when you really have a time to speak to what you did, how you did it, how you felt. Have different resumes and always revise your resumes periodically. I had different resumes for different semesters because I wanted to put my newest, most advanced classes on my resume. For example, I am a 3rd-year engineering student and I put on my coursework Calculus 1, but I also have Calculus 2, 3, and Engineering Math or Linear Algebra. There's no need to put Calc 1, 2, and 3 on there anymore because if you're taking Linear Algebra, I think everybody can assume that you passed Calc 1, 2, and 3. Number 3 is to make a list of the fields that you're interested in and the companies that you are interested in an internship with. And you want to keep an open mind. That really helped me throughout my time in college and even today. But you also want to narrow it down to a niche. So if you are an econ major, that can be used in different fields. So what do you want to do? So if you can hone in on a specialty in a field and then go after it and see what companies offer. So you can put a lot of time into preparing yourself for those interviews, for those companies to really learn more about it, to show your interest in it. Sometimes it's better to be a master of a small thing than to be a jack of all trades and a master of none. It makes you not that reliable and it can sometimes make you seem confused. And being confused is not good. It doesn't demonstrate a strong sense of self. And I'm not saying you have to have everything figured out. Most people, even well into their career, are not exactly sure where they want to be. They're experiencing different things and therefore they are growing and always changing. But you also just want to have a little bit of direction to show your interest and to show where your strengths are and that you know your strength and where you want to use them and where you want to grow in. Number 4 is to go to career fairs. Career fairs are very important. Many schools host them. At Howard, there were several ones. So I used to go to the engineering ones and I used to go to the main school hosted ones. So they have some for different colleges as well. Go to them. There is no hurt in going, walking around, looking at different companies. Sometimes you don't even know some companies exist. Many times before I went, the school published a list of all the companies that were going to be there. So I took time to look over companies that I was really interested in, to make sure I hit all those. But I also allowed myself space and time to go to companies that I had never heard of, introduce myself, get to know, what they're about. Because most people just go for companies that you're familiar with, but those are not the only companies that exist. So open yourself up to introducing yourself. Go prepared, maybe look them up beforehand if they seem very interesting. There are also smaller things such as like information sessions, and sometimes companies come and host a meeting during the day or like in your lobby. Go to those. If you're really looking for an internship, introduce yourself, give them your resume. Even if you're not looking for interns at the moment, still enroll in some of your emailing list. Maybe ask for advice on your resume. Ask them like what you can do, what classes you can take to really increase your chances of being an intern in the future if you don't qualify at the moment. So there's so many things that you can do, but getting that exposure is very necessary. Number 5 is to dress professionally when you're going to meet the companies. Especially this is for career fairs. If you're meeting them in the lobby and you're going to class, nobody really cares, right? Even information sessions like after classes, not a big deal. Present yourself in the best way possible. This is like a few days out of the entire year that you're gonna get the opportunity to do this. Sometimes it makes you stand out. And sometimes you may look around and be like, well, everybody else is just in business attire. Well, if you don't wear it, what happens is that you stand out, but in a negative light. So make sure that even if it's supposed to be not the most professional thing, still make sure that you are dressed presentably. And it doesn't have to be an entire business attire. Like I've seen people do that, and that's always great. If you can do it, do it. But if not, at least dress business casual. Make sure that you are clean, presentable in the best professional way that you can. What you have to do next is to follow through with applying. Apply to as many places as you qualify for, and even if you don't qualify, sometimes still apply. Like you'll be surprised the opportunities that can open up. Just even having that courage to make a list of all the companies that you want to apply to, follow through. Do not put all your eggs in one basket. Do not say, I know I'm gonna get this internship, because you're like on stage 1 of the interview process. So make sure that you are applying to as many companies as possible. Believe me, they will not be offended. They would not be offended if they know that you applied to 10 other companies. It's nothing on them. They are interviewing 100 candidates for one position as well. I'm not gonna say apply to like every position that you see. Of course, make sure that it is niche to what you're interested in. The worst thing is to disqualify yourself before the company disqualifies you. So even if you don't think that you are the best person for this, or that you don't know everything, believe me, it's an internship. They don't need you to know everything. If you're looking for somebody who is willing to learn and open to being exposed to more information, take that and grow their skill to show that you are a good candidate to be an employee of the company and that you will work well in their work culture. Next is to connect with recruiters in a timely manner. If you get past that process of applying and now you're being considered, you will be sent emails to confirm certain things, whether it's on your resume or what you're looking for. You will also be sent meeting notices, prepare for your interviews, be responsive. Do not ghost your recruiter for 5-6 days and then expect to have a responsive and happy recruiter. Be professional. Do not just go casual. Do you accept this meeting notice? Is this time good for you? Yeah. Be polite. You're still a candidate. You want to be on your best behavior and show the best, most professional side of you during the entire process. So the recruiter may not be interviewing you, but still they're connecting you to the people who are being engaged throughout the entire process. It just demonstrates a person who can function well in a corporate setting. Number 8 is to always prepare for your interviews. I am embarrassed to say that I once went to an interview and I was not prepared. But you also just want to make sure that you don't start just preparing when you're about to take your interview. You can do your research prior to it and see what type of interviews that are required for the field that you're going to. So in engineering, we have a lot of technical interviews, behavioral case studies, and you'll just have general interviews. Each time I had an interview, I would prepare. I'll have to see what type of interview is this. Sometimes it's only coding, so you want to like brush up on your coding. It could be systems architecture. It could just be simply behavior, where they're asking you questions about, tell me about a time when you work in a team, tell me about a time when you had to make it to a deadline, tell me about a time when this happened. You want to go over those scenarios as well. Familiarize yourself with it. Find a way to craft the response in a way that is professional, it's concise, it is easily digestible, not for you, but for the interviewers who are trying to comprehend what you're saying. Practice, practice, practice. Every type of interview that you think would come up, practice. Practice, again, doesn't make perfect, but it makes better than you were previously. Choose stories that highlight your strength, a good sense of self, but also humility and a good ability of communication overall. Remember that when you're interviewing, it's not about you as it is about the person listening to you, and making sure that they are understanding what you're saying and you're communicating in a way that is easily understanding. Number 9 is to be polite to the interviewers and to follow up in a timely manner as well. If you know about code switching, that's the time to code switch into your best professional self. Use appropriate language only. No jokes that are far-fetched. I mean, little jokes here and there if it's natural, but don't be joking around because they're not your friends. Don't be too serious as well. Try to calm down. Be your best authentic self professionally. Be straight to the point, be respectful, and when it's time and it's over, say thank you. Follow up. Maybe after a few days, if you've not heard anything, you can send an email, and then if they don't respond, maybe you can give it a few more days before checking in as well. But sending them an email every few hours or every single day, it gets really annoying really fast because you're not the only candidate. And sometimes, even better, they will give you an estimated time to hear back from them. Make sure that you stay within the estimated time, and then if you don't hear from them, that's when you follow up with an email. And number 10 is to be consistent and don't give up. Your first interview may not be the one that you get. Different people have different paces, different paths, and therefore different results. So you may have a friend who just gets their first internship from the first interview. Like, that's great, but just because you have to do 10 before you find one, there's nothing wrong with that as well. The summer of my freshman year of high school, I did not get like a purely engineering internship. I still took that opportunity that I had. I worked really well on there, took a leadership position in there so I could speak about it the next year. The next year I got a great engineering internship, which was great. I took different opportunities. I joined different clubs. I had more to speak on. I had more experience under my belt as well. So just being consistent, don't give up. Ask for feedback, constructive criticism, and take that constructive criticism and make yourself a better person. When you give up, you're only disqualifying yourself. Always put yourself out there. Keep working hard, and the best one would always come to you. What's for you is for you. And with that, I'll be ending this video. Thank you so much for watching my video. Like, comment, and subscribe, and ring that notification bell, because you will get a video every time I post. I post twice a week on Tuesdays and Fridays. Come and see what we're talking about. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!